Well, we're LGBTQ+, and that can only mean one thing. Broadway. What did you think I was going to say? Today we visit with BroadwayWorld.com's Performer of the Year, Hampton Callaway. We welcome all of our viewers to Unapologetically Queer. I'm your host, Al Ferguson, and I am proud to talk to some of the most interesting people that are interesting to our LGBTQ+ community. On June 3rd, Hampton Callaway will be at Sunshine Cathedral for Performing Arts Center here in Fort Lauderdale to launch the Pride Month entertainment series here in South Florida. And Hampton Callaway is, as you know, one of the leading champions of the Great American Songbook, having made her mark as a singer, pianist, composer, lyricist, arranger, actress, educator, a TV host, and a producer. She is best known for her Tony-nominated performance in the hit Broadway musical Swing, and for writing and singing the theme song to the hit television series The Nanny. Callaway is a Platinum Award-winning writer whose songs are featured on 7 of Barbra Streisand's CDs. She garnered 2 BroadwayWorld.com awards, including the prestigious Cabaret Performer of the Year award and the MAC Award for Show of the Year. So welcome, Anne Hampton Callaway. We are very excited to have you here. I'm a gay man, after all. Broadway, I'm very excited. I understand, get it right off the out of the gate, that you are unapologetically queer.
I am very proud to be queer, and I am very proud that my beautiful wife, Kari Strand, will be joining me when we are going to be together celebrating Pride on June 3rd. And there will be a reception after my show so that we can see all our sisters and brothers and have a wonderful time feeling happy about our world.
It's going to be great.
For a little period of time.
Exactly right. Well, first off, before we get into the concert that you're doing here for Pride, I want to talk about something that's near and dear to every, certainly gay man's heart, and that is your love of Broadway. Where did that come from your seat? Why did you gravitate toward that?
Well, I think, when you're a person born in a musical family and you're exposed to some of the greatest music around. My mom was a singer, pianist, and a voice teacher, and my dad was a huge lover of all kinds of music, one of the reasons why I sing jazz. But they had an incredible record collection, and we listened to all the greatest singers and show scores, and we went to all the big movie openings of the big movie musicals when I was growing up in Chicago. And then when I moved to New York with my family at 10, we started seeing Broadway shows, and that was a big thrill. And my sister and I both were just enthralled by the great lyrics and music and the stories and the characters, and I think it was just something so natural, as I like to call it. We had designer jeans.
Yeah, designer jeans. That's great. I've told a number of people about interviewing you, and people have told me, oh, you've got to watch this, and they had different kinds of things that they were excited about. And one of my friends said, oh, she did this thing with Liza Minnelli. And I went back into YouTube and I found it, and it was fabulous. I love Liza Minnelli. And I want to show you just a bit of that moment with Liza Minnelli.
Don't know why there's no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather since my man ain't together. Keeps raining all the time. Life is bare, gloom and misery everywhere. Stormy weather, just can't get my poor self together. I'm weary all the time, the time.
You know, there are gay men all over America whose minds are exploding right now. What was that like to do an iconic song like that and do it with Liza Minnelli? What was that like?
Well, I've been friends with Liza Minnelli since 1991, and we met at a party, and we had the best time getting to know each other. And I went to a number of her parties in New York at her home, and it was always a thrill and a joy singing with her and meeting all her incredibly talented friends and opening up a world to me of having been a huge fan of her mother, Judy Garland, and practicing Judaism every day of my life. Liza Minnelli just blows my mind as an artist. I got to sit in the front row next to Baryshnikov in her opening night at Radio City Music Hall. And so when I was putting together a TV pilot for a show I was wanting to develop called Singer Spotlight, she was the first person I wanted to go, and I was so happy she said yes. Yeah. And it thrilled the audience to really get to know her as a woman, as an artist, as a daughter of theater royalty, and she remains one of my dear friends.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful moment. She's an icon. She's iconic for our community and her voice support. Her mother is the literal representation of the rainbow of the LGBTQ community, and your incredibly fabulous voice in that moment was just wonderful. Many people know you about your Tony nomination for Swing, and every gay man wants to go to the Tonys. Now, your Tony nomination is important. Okay, it's important. But really what we all want to know is, what's it like to be at the Tonys?
Well, it's pretty damn exciting. It was that year we had Rosie O'Donnell was hosting, I believe. It was Nathan Lane or Rosie O'Donnell. There were so many wonderful, exciting people, and it's really sort of Cinderella goes to the ball night, and everyone looks fabulous. We're all excited, nervous, and that little girl or little boy dream is coming true. And even if you don't win, you still feel pretty wonderful getting to perform on the show and to see all the legends that inspired you to be the artist that you are. And so I love looking around the audience and seeing people who really, made me want to do what I do. And to be validated by being a Tony nominee, as my sister Liz Callaway is, it's very nice to have that acknowledgement in the community. And one of these days, I'm going to write a Broadway musical. That is one of my bucket list goals, and I'm going to try to do that in the next 5 years. So,
you give me a perfect segue to set up you as a lyricist and writer. A lot of people probably don't make the immediate connection to Anne Hampton Callaway and Fran Drescher, and it's one of the beloved television sitcoms in gay men's history, and that is The Nanny. And before we talk about that, let me show you a bit of that, because you wrote the theme song as lyricist.
She was working in a bridal shop in Flushing, Queens, till her boyfriend kicked her out in one of those crushing scenes. What was she to do? Where was she to go? She was out on her fanny. So over the bridge from Flushing to the Sheffield's door, she was there to sell makeup, but the father saw more. She had style, she had flair, she was there. That's how she became the nanny. Who would have guessed that the girl we described was just exactly what the doctor prescribed? Now the father finds her beguiling, watch out, CC, and the kids are actually smiling. Such joie de vivre. She's the lady in red when everybody else is wearing tan. The flashy girl from Flushing, the nanny named Fran.
That is lovely, and of course that voice, it sounds so familiar to me. I'm trying to
yes, I got to sing on that, and my accountant still calls it my finest work to date.
Tell me how that happened. First off, such an accomplished performer, singer, but to be a lyricist to the degree of a sitcom opening, not so much today, but once upon a time, the opening of a sitcom was the icon anchor. The show was going to live and die on the opening. Friends and so many other
Right.
related songs. Tell me how that happened. How did you fall into I'm going to write this?
Well, it's a great story. I was doing a show in New York City at Don't Tell Mama's, a famous cabaret there, and
Famous.
it was all original songs. And my wonderful sister's friend, co-star, she was in the show Baby. He brought Tautgraf brought Fran Drescher, who was one of his best friends, to see my show. Afterwards, she came up to me in that inimitable voice and said, "Oh my God, you are so talented! I have to work with you. We have to create things together." So I started writing theme songs for her pilots and various shows she was trying to get launched. And none of them went anywhere. And then finally she called me up and said, I have a sitcom that I think is going places. It's, going to be on TriStar. But this time I'm not giving the job to you. I'm letting you compete with some of the top Hollywood songwriters. So I thought, oh my goodness, I wrote 2 theme songs to be more competitive. And I called her up and I said, I want from the horse's mouth, what do you want me to say in the song? Who is Fran Fine? And so during our conversation, she said the most wonderful thing. I said, in a nutshell, who's your character? And she paused and she said, well, she's the lady in red when everyone else is wearing tan. And I just thought, okay, that has to be in the theme song. And so not only did I beat out all the other Hollywood writers, but then I said, you should have the Manhattan Transfer record this song. And she said, no, I want you. And so that is why my sister and I, we like to call it the medley of our hit. And wherever we perform, we usually do that theme song. And I will be doing that so we can have a big gay sing-along on our Pride celebration.
Yeah, so you're going to perform it June 3rd.
Yes, I am, of
Oh,
course.
that's of course. That's lovely.
If you don't do anything, you don't get your gay card.
Yeah. Wait, and wait, you beat me to the joke, obviously. The issue of Fran Drescher and her life, of course, and her embracement of LGBT, but the sitcom itself has been considered basically a joke, a positive, good joke about
It's very
LGBT.
campy.
It's so campy and it's so gay. And
Part of it is her clothing. She looks slightly like a drag queen. She has that.
Slightly. We're facing we're broadcasting the Stonewall Pride here in South Florida on June 17th, and Fran Drescher probably couldn't ride one of the floats with Governor DeSantis's new drag ban because it probably would violate the drag standards that he's trying to enforce. But the one last question about this experience and writing, and you talk about this in writing a show. Do you find that the writing process is harder or more interesting to you than the performance aspect that you've had for your entire life? Which do you like better? Which is harder, and which do you like better?
Well, singing comes very naturally to me, but songwriting gives me a certain personal fulfillment because I get to show the world through my eyes, and I love the challenge of writing a good song, and I love the challenge of making up songs on the spot, which I'll be doing in my performance on June 3rd. But I feel sort of an ironic division in myself. I'm a Gemini, so that means, when you marry a Gemini, you marry a harem, my lucky wife. But so I love to have the opportunity to do both singing and songwriting, and that makes my upcoming project, which is called Finding Beauty Originals Volume 1. It'll be 16 of my original songs coming out September 22nd, where both talents are featured in full bloom. And next month I get to go to Washington, D.C. and receive an unexpected award. I've just been inducted into the Women's Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Awesome.
People know I've written about 500 songs. So it's a tremendous honor. And I think this is where I want to take my life going forward, is to do more writing, to do more singing of my writing, and to write interesting projects like
Yeah. And to be clear, I knew you had a new album coming. The new album is going to be all original work?
Yes, but my current CD out, it just came out in February, is and I'm telling you this to you on Peggy Lee's birthday. It's called Fever, a celebration of Peggy Lee, and that's been doing great, getting great Spotify numbers, great unanimous rave reviews, and she was the first famous female singer-songwriter, and so she is why I can do what I do today. She really blazed the trail for all of us.
You know, Anna, when you say that about her being the first, I'm curious. I wasn't planning to ask you, but what do you think about Dolly Parton in terms of her singer-songwriter?
I think she's incredible. I love Dolly Parton. I'm not usually a huge fan of country music, but I think her spirit, her soul, her attitude, her love, her talent just shines whatever she does. And I couldn't say more wonderful things about her. I'd love to meet her, and I'd love to do something with her.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you about your storied career and people that you've worked with and performed with. I saw an excerpt from Wynton Marsalis at Lincoln Center. You've performed at Boston Pops, at Tanglewood, which is legendary, Carnegie Hall, of course. If you could only choose a single person or perhaps a single genre, would it be Broadway or would it be concerts? Which do you like better? The scripted opportunity at Broadway and Broadway musical, or is concert your greater preference?
Well, I've only done one Broadway musical, and so I've spent my life doing concerts. And what I love about doing concerts is that I get to create my own show. I get to write songs for them. I get to arrange songs for them. I get to craft them. I can choose who I sing with. I can do a one-woman show. I can do it with my trio. I can do it with a big band. I can sing with an orchestra. I can just express what I want to, what I care about, and what matters to me in concerts. But all that aside, I love Broadway, and I would love to do another Broadway musical if it was the right one. And the idea of writing and really creating an amazing show that moves me the way Sondheim musicals move me, or many of the other great musicals, that would be a tremendous challenge and a tremendous thrill. But concerts is the world of concerts is where my magic really comes into full bloom. And when I was starring in the musical Swing, I got to create my own role. I got to choose my songs, arrange them, write new lyrics for them. And when I arrived at my first day of work at Swing, they hadn't chosen anything for my character. I wrote my entire character. And
wow, I
so it was
read that.
In a way, when I did that show, it was fun.
That's super interesting. I'm curious. All of the people that you've worked with, you've sang with, if you were forced into choosing a single favorite moment, who would it be?
Well, I have to say I really love singing with my sister. You know, I've sung with so many famous people. I stood next to one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Stevie Wonder, in Washington, D.C., an incredible time. But Liz and I, we have a magic that really can't compare to anything else, because we grew up together, we have the same genes, we have the same sense of humor, we're so different. But I'm speaking to you from Palm Springs, where tonight we're opening our show, Broadway the Callaway, and we just love singing together, and the harmonies and the wonderful rapport we have together because we've known each other our whole life. Someday I want to sing with Barbra Streisand. I know it's a pipe dream, but I want to stand in the same room and sing with her and do something special. But it would be hard to top singing with my sister.
I'm curious, when you say that about your sister, are you still like in your new show that you're doing? Are you doing For Good from Wicked with her?
Yes, we are. Yes, we're closing the show with the purple ribbon.
I just tell everybody, let me spill the beans. Go to YouTube. First off, you want to go to her concert and see it live. But if you do not have the ability to do that, go to YouTube and see Hampton Callaway perform with her sister For Good. It is breathtaking. It is just so beautiful. In all of the work that you've done, anyone just completely that you met, you were completely starstruck over?
I can talk to anybody. I've spoken to presidents. I've spoken to all kinds of famous people. But Barbra Streisand, who I've done the most work with as a songwriter, I have 3 platinum hits on 7 of her CDs. But there's something about her that I just get sort of tongue-tied. Like, I try to act really calm around her, and I've written patter for her. I've been on the phone with her. I performed for her when she won the Chapman Award for film, and I made up a song about her in front of her. But when I speak to her, I just feel like, oh my God, it's her, and I don't know why. But everybody else, I'm fine. I could talk to anybody. But there's something.
It gives me a perfect transition.
Deep,
It gives me a perfect transition observation to talk about you as a lesbian, queer woman. I love Barbra Streisand. I've seen her in concert twice. The one thing that I have read volumes on of why she's disliked is because I personally think it's because she represents as a woman a complete decision maker. She's completely in charge. She knows completely what she wants, and she requires it of everyone around her. I'm curious from your standpoint of your career as a lesbian queer woman, does it affect the way you craft your art in any way? Does it come into play being a strong woman in terms of lyrics, choice, performance in any way?
I think growing up, I grew up bisexual. I was confused because I was attracted to men, but I only fell in love with women. And it made me a very introspective person, try to understand why am I this way, and I don't see anybody else who's like me. What is life about? What is love? I asked so many questions when I was a kid, and I continued to ask those questions. And then I felt afraid for a while. How am I going to have a good career and be who I am? And through the years, I opened my life and my heart up, and I just I'm fortunately been sharing my life with somebody who is happy to be out loud and proud, and we share our lives every single day, very, very openly and with joy. But when I'm making decisions as an artist and as a person, it's very important to be true to myself and to whatever it is that I do, to do it with love and to do it with, how can this be the most loving decision? How can I be in a state with the most open heart, the most focused mind, and the most loving, fun, unique, authentic me that I can be every single day? And so I'm glad that I'm at a point in my life, I have a birthday coming up, and I'm glad I'm at the point in my life where I am so happy to be who I am, and I want my life to be an inspiration to other people now that I've arrived at this difficult moment, because it's not easy to be who you are in a world. There are so many people who, for some unknown reason, don't want to let people be who they are. It's
authentic.
Authentic. And to me, your health is destroyed if you're not you. Your happiness is destroyed if you're not you. The world is less of a world if you're not you. And the most we can do is to have the courage and the cooperation with each other to help each other be our authentic, joyful selves. And so that's why Pride is so important, is to be able to celebrate the courageous world that helped us to be who we are and to feel free to be who we are. And I thank the people who paved the way, and our work is not done. So when I write songs for gay choruses and try to express the experience of what we go through and how it feels to be us, I hope I'm doing my part in helping just there to be more human rights and more happiness.
And I want to ask you quickly about your parents. Were they supportive of you, the exploration of your queerness? Were they always supportive of that?
Well, when I told my mom about my falling in love with my first love, she said, well, I just met a woman and she found her love when she was 60. And I said, Mom, I'm 21. I really don't, or 23, I think it was. I don't want to wait that long. I'm fairly happy. So my Yet she became a voice teacher to untold numbers of gay students who she absolutely loved and adored. My dad, when I was breaking up with that partner, and I said who I was looking for, and I wasn't sure, could it be a man? And I said, I want somebody who's this and that and blah, blah. And he said, Anne, I hope you realize that you're ruling out 9% of men. And I said, Dad, I hope you realize that too.
That's great. And
in the end, they were very supportive, just to make a long story. And then they
to viewers that are getting to know Anne Hampton Callaway, both of her parents are of note themselves. Anne's father was Chicago's legendary TV and radio journalist, John Callaway. Her mother was Shirley Callaway, a very superb singer, pianist, and one of New York's most in-demand vocal coaches. We broadcast Queer News Tonight live every evening, so I gravitated toward that because of his news background in Chicago. I'm just curious, when today we have Queer News Tonight, and it's an evening daily news show about queer America. What would your father think about that in his days of being a journalist, television journalism? What would he think about? Wait, there's queer news and there's a queer television news show. What would he think?
I think he would think it was wonderful. Everybody needs to tell their story, and some stories are not told in the evening news. In fact, a lot of news is about one thing, one person, one story. The evening news is not what the evening news used to be, where you'd hear a lot about the world. You are telling very important stories, and they need to be heard. And people who feel not listened to and not appreciated and not validated by the world of news we should all feel so grateful for what you're doing, because otherwise we're not going to have our stories told. It really is amazing how little is talked about, unless it is from a gay.
And thank you for that. And it's a wonderful segue to June Pride Month and Anne Hampton Callaway's concert, June 3rd, that is going to kick off Pride Month here in South Florida. As everyone knows, South Florida is one of the largest LGBT communities in the country. An estimated 380,000 LGBT live in the metro of South Florida. Anne's concert is called Love and Let Love, a Pride Celebration. It's June 3rd here at Sunshine Cathedral's Performing Arts Center. And kind of summarize what kinds of things we can expect in coming to your concert, and what will you be doing?
Well, the title of the show is called Love and Let Love, and that is an anthem I wrote with my dear friend Michelle Brellerman, and it is a very joyous lesbian, gay pride song, and it's going to be on my new CD, and I wanted to make sure that song is out there, and that it's the kind of song that makes you just want to sing along and be proud and feel inspired. So that's going to be one of the many songs. I'm going to be doing some famous, gay icon tributes, Barbra Streisand and a few others, and I'm going to be doing songs by famous gay composers, and I'm going to be doing some of the songs from my career that I think has reached my most amount of gay followers, that is part of why I'm in the musical community that I'm in. And it's going to be fun to make up a pride song at the end of my show. I ask the audience for words and phrases, and compose a song on the spot. So we're going to have a pride moment like that. And then I'm going to close the show with the anthem by the great Judy Garland. There is nothing more thrilling than singing Over the Rainbow a cappella to close my show. And so whenever I do this, it's just one of those tingling moments of beauty that she gave us, and her presence as a part of the gay movement has been so important. And so that is how I'm going to close a very joyous and beautiful evening.
Anne, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about you doing that. The choice of doing Over the Rainbow a cappella, why that choice?
Because it's the most beautiful way to sing it. And I've sung it with symphony orchestras, I've sung it with my trio, I've played the piano and sung it, but when I stand in the center and people just hear my voice, and they just hear the power of the words, and they feel all the beauty of the music and the memories that that song evokes. There's just something sublime about the experience that I can't describe.
Yeah. Love and Let Love, a Pride celebration concert, June 3rd, Sunshine Cathedral, and it's at the Performing Arts Center. Your ticket goes for good because it helps support the Sunshine Mission in so many ways, especially the food mission program here in South Florida. So it's not to miss. Get your tickets right now, and it's a perfect way to help celebrate and launch June Pride Month. You can read lots more about Ann Hampton Callaway at her website, annhamptoncallaway.com. She has lots of great things in social media, and it's been a pleasure.
Full of all kinds of things on my YouTube channel.
Full of things. As I said, I fell into the Liza Minnelli piece that we showed you from YouTube, and so much more. There's so much to see. It's really going to be a great concert. And Ann Hampton Callaway, we really, really appreciate the time and you coming to support this LGBT Pride Month concert here in South Florida. We look forward to meeting and seeing you. And we thank you very much for being on tonight's Queer News Tonight.
It's an honor to be on your show. I'm so thrilled at what you're doing, and continued success to you.
Thank you.